Sports card market just witnessed something absolutely unprecedented. A Caitlin Clark rookie card has obliterated all previous women's sports records, selling for a jaw-dropping $366,000. This isn't just breaking the ceiling, it's demolishing it. The gold vinyl prism signature card didn't just edge past the previous record, it smashed it by $130,000, leaving collectors and critics equally stunned. The WNBA has never seen anything like this before, and it's changing the entire landscape. Let's take a look at this. So, wow. I've done videos before. Every time Caitlin Clark, one of her trading cards, one of her sports cards, breaks a record, and we've got a new one, and it is freaking ridiculous. Let's talk about what just happened in the sports collectibles world, because this isn't just a record. It's a seismic shift in how women's sports are valued in the marketplace. A 2024 Panini Prism WNBA Signatures Gold Vinyl Prism, Caitlin Clark signed rookie card graded PSA Gem Mint 10, just sold for $366,000. That's not a typo. We're talking $366,000 for a women's basketball card. For context, this demolishes the previous record for any women's sports card by over $130,000. The previous record was Clark's own card that sold for $234,000 just a few months ago. Before that, another Clark card went for $105,000, and before that, one sold for $97,000. Each time, Clark isn't just breaking her own records, she's shattering them. $366,000 right here. Let's see if we can get a closer look at this card. It's a good-looking card, and I'm not gonna lie to you. Wow, that's bananas. It really is. Now, this guy posted a list of top 5 highest paid ever for Caitlin Clark cards. Guys, this one was $130,000 more expensive than the previous high. What makes this particular card so valuable? First, it's a one-of-one gold vinyl variant, meaning there's literally only one of this specific card in existence. It features Clark's autograph and received a perfect PSA 10 grade, the highest possible rating from the most respected grading service in the industry. These factors combine to create the perfect storm for a record-breaking sale. But let's be honest, plenty of male athletes have one-of-one autographed cards with perfect grades that don't approach this figure. What we're witnessing is the Caitlin Clark effect in its purest form. She isn't just moving the needle in women's sports, as many are saying she eyes the needle. This sale even surpassed the previous record for any female athlete's card, which belonged to tennis legend Serena Williams. And remarkably, that Williams card included a piece of match-worn clothing. Clark's card is breaking barriers based solely on her signature and rookie status. What makes this even more extraordinary is that Clark is just beginning her professional career. We're not talking about a card commemorating a championship or MVP season. This is a rookie card for a player who has only been in the WNBA for a matter of months. Typically, rookie cards reach their peak value after a player has established themselves with multiple accolades and championships. Clark is rewriting that rulebook too. The timing of this sale coincides perfectly with the WNBA's decision to feature the Indiana Fever in 41 of 44 nationally televised games this season. That unprecedented television exposure, which has caused no small amount of controversy within the league, now seems like a prescient business decision rather than preferential treatment. The numbers don't lie. Clark is bringing in viewers, moving merchandise, selling tickets, and now completely revolutionizing the sports card market for women athletes. Before Clark, the idea of a women's sports card selling for 6 figures was almost unthinkable. Now collectors are speculating about when we'll see the first $500,000 card, and that speculation isn't unreasonable. Consider the trajectory. In just 4 months the record has jumped by $130,000. At this rate, reaching $500,000 seems not just possible but probable, especially if Clark continues her trajectory toward becoming the face of women's basketball globally. What makes this card market explosion particularly fascinating is that it represents a pure market response. Unlike television contracts, which are negotiated, or ticket sales, which can be influenced by promotional pricing, the card market is a direct reflection of what collectors are willing to pay. No marketing campaign or network executive can manufacture this kind of demand. This is raw, unfiltered market validation of Clark's value. Some collectors who were watching the auction have shared their experiences online. One person mentioned they stopped bidding when the price hit $13,000, believing that was already pushing the boundaries of reasonability. Little did they know the bidding would continue for hundreds of thousands more. Another commenter noted you could buy a decent house in many parts of America for that amount. In places like East Texas, $366,000 could build you a brand new 2,200 square foot home with all the amenities. The contrast between Clark's card values and those of her peers is stark. While there's no verified information about other current WNBA players' card values, industry experts suggest that most rookie autographs for other players, even stars, typically sell in the hundreds or low thousands of dollars range, nowhere near six figures, let alone approaching $400,000. This disparity highlights something important. What we're witnessing isn't just about basketball or even women's sports broadly. This is specifically about Caitlin Clark and the unique value proposition she brings to the table. Her combination of record-breaking college career, distinctive playing style, mainstream crossover appeal, and ability to attract new audiences to women's basketball has created a perfect storm for collectibles. Sports card values are often predictive of an athlete's long-term cultural impact. When rookie cards for athletes like Michael Jordan, LeBron James, or Tom Brady sell for astronomical sums, it reflects not just their athletic achievements, but their cultural significance. By this measure, Clark is already being placed in rarefied air by the collector community. The question many are asking now is who purchased this card? Was it a traditional collector, a wealthy fan, or perhaps even a celebrity or professional athlete making an investment? High-end purchases like this often come from unexpected sources. During the recent sports card boom, many professional athletes began collecting cards of their peers and heroes as investments. It wouldn't be surprising to learn that a current NBA or NFL star was behind this purchase. From an investment perspective, the buyer might be thinking even longer term. If Clark goes on to have the kind of career many predict, multiple championships, MVP awards, and transforming the WNBA's popularity, this card could potentially double or triple in value over the next decade. While $366,000 seems astronomical now, it could look like a bargain in retrospect. What's particularly remarkable about this sale is that it's happening in a somewhat cooled sports card market. After the pandemic-era boom that saw record prices across all sports, many segments of the card market have settled back to more reasonable levels, yet Clark's cards continue to defy this trend, suggesting her appeal transcends temporary market fluctuations. This record-breaking sale also comes at a time when the relationship between Clark and the broader WNBA community remains complicated. While the league office and business partners have embraced Clark's star power, there's been well-documented tension with some veteran players who feel overshadowed despite years of building the league. This card sale represents yet another data point highlighting the financial impact Clark brings, something that may simultaneously validate her supporters while potentially intensifying the complicated feelings among some peers. For the WNBA as a business entity, Clark's market value presents both an opportunity and a challenge. The opportunity is clear. They have a transcendent star who is bringing unprecedented attention and investment to women's basketball. The challenge lies in balancing the promotion of their brightest star while maintaining the league's broader identity and supporting its full roster of talented athletes. The NBA faced similar challenges during the Michael Jordan era, when one player's popularity so far outpaced his peers that it created marketing imbalances. The league eventually leveraged Jordan's stardom to elevate the entire NBA brand, while gradually developing other marketable stars. The WNBA appears to be attempting a similar strategy, using Clark's spotlight to draw attention that can ultimately benefit all players. This record-breaking card sale also represents a watershed moment for women's sports collectibles more broadly. Historically, the sports memorabilia market has heavily favored male athletes, with women's sports items typically selling for a fraction of comparable men's items. Clark is single-handedly reshaping this dynamic, creating a precedent that could benefit female athletes across all sports. Card manufacturers are certainly paying attention. Companies like Panini, Topps, and Upper Deck make product planning decisions based on market demand, and Clark's success will likely lead to expanded offerings for women's basketball and potentially other women's sports. More cards, more premium variants, and more marketing attention could follow, creating additional revenue streams for female athletes. The timing of this sale also coincides with the WNBA's new media rights deal, which represents a massive increase in value for the league. The correlation isn't coincidental. Clark's ability to drive interest directly impacts the league's broadcast value. When networks are investing hundreds of millions in WNBA content, they're largely betting on Clark's ability to deliver viewers. From a broader sports industry perspective, Clark's impact might be best understood as creating an entirely new category of value, rather than simply increasing existing values. Before Clark, women's sports cards occupied a niche within the broader sports collectibles market. Now they represent a legitimate high-end investment category, a transformation that happened in less than a year. This evolution mirrors what we've seen in the broader women's sports landscape, where attendance, viewership, and sponsorship have all reached unprecedented levels. Clark isn't solely responsible for this growth. Foundations were being built long before her arrival, but her impact has accelerated trends that might otherwise have taken years to develop. The question now becomes, what's next? If Clark's rookie card is already commanding $366,000, what happens when she wins her first championship? What about her first MVP award? What about Olympic gold? Each milestone typically increases a player's card value, suggesting we may just be seeing the beginning of Clark's impact on the collectibles market. For the NBA and WNBA's joint business operations, this represents validation of their decision to heavily feature Clark in their marketing and broadcast strategy. While some criticize the 41 of 44 nationally televised games as excessive exposure for a rookie, the market is clearly signaling that consumers want more Clark content, not less. This also raises fascinating questions about Clark's long-term earning potential. With her NIL name, image, and likeness value already established in the millions during her college career, and her rookie card commanding unprecedented sums, her potential endorsement value far exceeds the constraints of the WNBA salary structure. Unlike previous generations of women's basketball stars who had limited off-court earning potential, Clark is positioned to build generational wealth through endorsements, licensing, and media opportunities. The collector who purchased this card is clearly betting on Clark's long-term cultural significance, not just her athletic achievements. Sports cards at this price point transcend mere hobby status. They represent investments in cultural artifacts. The buyer believes Clark will remain relevant not just for a few seasons but for decades to come, joining the pantheon of athletes whose impact extends far beyond their playing careers. For the WNBA's future, this sales record represents both promise and pressure. The promise is clear. Clark's star power could help elevate the entire league to unprecedented heights of popularity and financial success. The pressure comes from the need to effectively leverage this moment, building sustainable systems that can capitalize on Clark's popularity while developing the next generation of stars. What's particularly noteworthy is that Clark is achieving this market impact as a point guard, not a dominant center or forward. Historically, basketball's most marketable players have often been scoring forwards or centers who dominate through physical advantages. Clark is winning fans through skill, creativity, and basketball intelligence, qualities that translate particularly well to highlight reels and social media sharing, driving her popularity in the digital age. As collectors process this record-breaking sale, many are reassessing their entire approach to women's sports cards. Items that were once afterthoughts in collections are now being viewed through a new lens. Could other women's basketball cards, or items from women's soccer, tennis, or golf, be similarly undervalued? This Clark effect could create ripples throughout the entire women's sports collectibles market. For perspective on just how extraordinary this sale is, consider that many Hall of Fame male athletes from the 1980s and 1990s have rookie cards that sell for less than Clark's. We're witnessing a fundamental reordering of how the market values women athletes relative to their male counterparts, at least at the highest end of the spectrum. What does this mean for Clark herself? While she doesn't directly profit from secondary market sales of her cards, this valuation affects her broader market value. Every company considering a partnership with Clark now has tangible evidence of her extraordinary appeal. This translates directly to leverage in endorsement negotiations, appearance fees, and other business opportunities. The cultural significance extends beyond sports as well. Clark is demonstrating that women athletes can generate the same fervent collector interest as their male counterparts, challenging long-held assumptions about market disparities. This represents another crack in the glass ceiling of sports business, where women have historically been undervalued despite comparable or even superior achievements. For young fans, especially girls, seeing a woman athlete's card command this price sends a powerful message about the potential value of women's sports. A generation of young collectors is growing up in a world where women's sports cards can be premium investments, not just niche collectibles. This normalization has cultural implications that extend far beyond the current market. Caitlin Clark isn't just breaking records, she's creating an entirely new market reality for women's sports collectibles. That $366,000 card represents far more than cardboard and ink. It's concrete proof that the game has changed forever. As Clark's career unfolds, we might look back at this sale as just the beginning of her market impact. Want to stay updated on every twist in this unprecedented journey?